Today we're making this really easy and fast plant hanger. It should take you 30 minutes or less. Be sure to take a screenshot of the project details and save that for later. Now let's get started. Now because this plant hanger is small, I am going to be using a wooden ring and not a stainless steel one. However, if you're worried about the durability of the ring, you can go ahead and use a stainless steel one. Okay, so thread all 6 of your single strand cotton rope through your wooden ring and make sure that it's centered right in the middle. Grab one of your smaller strands of rope, and what I like to do is I like to tie an overhand knot at one of the ends. We will be tying a gathering knot with this strand of rope, and I find having this knot at the end helps me pull it later on. Okay, so what you want to do is at the knotted end you want to make a small loop, and then place this loop over top of all of your 6 strands of cotton rope. Gather it into your hand, and to tie a gathering knot, we're going to take this long end and we're going to wrap it around all of our cords. You want to start at the top and work your way towards the bottom of your loop. And for your tension, you want it to be a medium type of tension. You don't want this to be too tight, otherwise you're going to have a hard time pulling it later on. And you don't want it too loose because you don't want this knot to slide off. Once you've worked your way down to the bottom of your loop, you want to take your long tail end and thread it through that loop. Now this is the reason why this overhand knot is helpful. It gives you something to grip when you go and pull your short tail end up. As you're pulling, you want your loop to be right in the center of your wrap. Don't pull too hard because we don't want it to pop out through the top. Next, you just want to snip off your loose ends. And what I like to do to make sure that my gathering knot is seamless is I like to take my scissors, and with the pointy end I very carefully stuff any frayed ends up into my gathering knot. Alright, so grab 4 strands of rope and divide that into 2. And what we're going to do is tie alternating half hitch knots. With the 2 cords on your right, make a loop on your right, wrap your tail end around and through the loop. Then cinch it up to the top. That is a half hitch. Now to alternate it, we have to do the same thing but on the other side. So with your 2 cords on your left, you want to make a loop on your left, wrap your tail around and through the loop. See, this is super easy. This is probably the easiest macrame plant hanger you will ever make. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue alternating our half hitch knots all the way down the length of our arm of our plant hanger. And just so there's no confusion, one loop around is 1 half hitch knot, and we're going to need 33 of them down the length of our macrame plant hanger. Once you have 33 alternating half hitch knots, we're going to do the same thing for the other 2 arms of our plant hanger. I actually timed myself. It took 3.5 minutes per arm, so this is a very quick plant hanger. Okay, so now we need to make the basket portion where our pot is going to sit. With one of our arms, we're going to divide our cords in half, and we're going to tie more alternating half hitches, but this time we're going to only use 2 strands of rope. And it is just like we were doing before. You want to make a loop on your right, wrap your cord around and through the loop, and then switch sides and make a loop on your left, wrap your cord all the way around and through the loop, and repeat. And we're going to do this for a total of 6 alternating half hitch knots. Now we should have 6 alternating knots. We're going to do the same thing to the other side now. Now the pot I'm using is quite small. I have a 4-inch in diameter pot, and I find that 6 knots is perfect. However, if you have a bigger pot, you're going to need more than 6 knots to accommodate the width of your plant hanger. So just keep that in mind as you're tying your knots. Alright, so I repeated the same thing to the other 2 arms. Next we need to join them together. With 2 arms that are side by side, you want to grab the 2 inside cords, and what we're going to do to join them together is just another half hitch knot. And don't worry, I know that a half hitch knot on its own is not very secure, but what we're going to do next is we're going to tie another 6 alternating half hitch knots, just like we did at the top. I like how this plant hanger is pretty much all alternating half hitch knots, and that makes it simple, but it also is quite beautiful. I have made 2 of these, and I plan on gifting them to my kids' teachers for the end of the year school gift. Actually, if your kid is quite crafty, they could probably handle making this plant hanger all on their own. Alright, next we're going to connect the other arm next door, and we're going to do it just the same way as we did previously. We're going to join it together with a single half hitch, and then down one of the sides we're going to do 6 alternating half hitches and repeat to the other side. Alright, and for our final arm, you want to curve and wrap it all the way around and join those together as well. At this point, it's always a good idea to make sure that your pot fits, so just give that a check and then we can carry on from there. Alright, so now we're going to close in, making this a diamond shape. And to do this, we're going to tie more alternating half hitch knots, just like we did right at the top. So we're going to tie using all 4 strands and make a loop on your right, wrap your tail in around and through the loop, and then alternate. And we're going to be doing this for a total of 6 alternating half hitch knots. Once you've tied all 6, we're going to repeat the same thing to the other 2 arms. And you should have something that looks like this. So to close the bottom of our plant hanger, because we don't want our pot to fall through, obviously, what we're going to do is we're going to tie another gathering knot, just like we did at the very top. With our last 30-inch strand of rope, I'm going to tie an overhand knot right at one of the ends, just like I did previously, and I'm going to make a loop at that end, gather my plant hanger in my hand, place the loop facing downwards, and I'm gonna start wrapping my gathering knot right at the base of our alternating half hitches. Now for the tension of this one, I like it to be a little bit more taut than our previous one because this is where our plant sits, and I want to make sure that this is a really strong gathering knot. Thread your long tail in through the loop and then pull your top cord so that your join is right in the center of your gathering knot. Snip off the excess ends of your gathering knot, and then give your entire plant hanger a trim. If this plant hanger was too easy for you, no worries, I have a whole playlist of macrame plant hangers. I'll leave the link for that playlist on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one.